Good evening. It's family read aloud time. It is 6 o'clock. It is time to read some more books. I hope everyone had a good day. It's nice out today. It's Tuesday. I always have to remind myself. It's Tuesday, May 12th. It's hard to remember. But here we are. I hope if you haven't had a chance to see the cool bags that Kristen and Susanna put outside on the library. Hi, Mom. There's a short video before this, a short live video that shows them hanging on the fence in front of the library. If you want to make some hearts to put in your windows, starting Thursday is when the elementary kids will start counting them, and it's a way for all of us to be in our home, but say thank you to all the essential workers and the healthcare workers. So if you don't have construction paper, go grab a bag right off the fence in front of the library. They're pinned up there for you. So pretty neat. I know tomorrow my kids and I will work on making some, although we have a plethora of construction paper here. Make sure you grab them if you're on the island and you need construction paper. But we are going to get back to Stella Diaz Has Something to Say by Angela Dominguez. This is our story. When we left off yesterday, Stella was hanging out with her best friend Jenny, and Jenny was trying to help her just figure out how to talk to other kids, or like to learn things about other kids. Since English is not her first language, sometimes she has trouble with some of the words. So Jenny's like, run through it with me, you know. let's do a little trial run. Since now Jenny and Stella are not in the, thanks Mom, not in the same class. Stella's really hoping to connect with someone that's actually in her class this year. And we are going to pick up with chapter 8. Okay? A week before Thanksgiving, Mom comes home from work in a great mood. Niños, want to go to Fantastic Time Machine? Our favorite restaurant is Fantastic Time Machine, but we usually only go for special occasions. Is it somebody's birthday? Asks Nick. No, just a good day at work. It can be our unbirthday party, though, if you want. Mom raises her eyebrows up and down. I jump and clap while Nick just shrugs his shoulders, yes. Can I invite Jenny, I ask? She gives me the thumbs up and says, and Nick, you can invite Jason if you want. I like Jason. He is the nicest of all my brother's friends. They usually talk about comics and go for bike rides. I hug Mom around the waist and ask, can Jenny sleep over too? Of course. I run to my room to call Jenny. It's going to be the best unbirthday ever. We leave to pick up Jenny and Jason on the way to Fantastic Time Machine. I'm curious about a restaurant called Fantastic Time Machine. I would check it out. Anyway, back to the story. Stop at Jenny's first. Her mom answers the door dressed in a uniform. Jenny's mom is about to go to work the night shift at a computer company. She also does beauty treatments in a salon during the day when she's not too tired. Miss Lee is strong like my mom. She takes care of Jenny all by herself, too. Hi, Stella, says Jenny's mom. Hi, Miss Lee. I'm almost ready, I hear Jenny yelling from the other room. Jenny told me once that when her parents first divorced, she had to share a bed with her mom. That's when she was living in a much smaller apartment. Jenny never let me see that place. I think she was embarrassed. I've never met her dad either, and Jenny never talks about him. Jenny has met my dad, though. He took us to sushi last year. Thanks to Jenny, I already knew how to use chopsticks. The sushi was tasty, except for the wasabi, which I thought was avocado. I put the whole thing in my mouth while Dad was talking to the waitress. That was a bad idea. It turns out wasabi is not avocado at all and is very spicy. I had to drink a whole glass of water and eat a bowl of rice before my eyes stopped watering. Not to mention I had a runny nose the rest of the night. The sushi was also really expensive, more than Mom ever spends on dinner. I'm not really sure why. It looks like they didn't really have to cook it. Okay, ready, Jenny shouts, running to the front door. Jenny's mom speaks Vietnamese to Jenny, and Jenny disappears again. I can't understand anything they are saying to each other. I wonder if that is how it sounds when I speak Spanish with Mom in front of Jenny. Jenny reappears with a plate covered with foil. Here, egg rolls, says Mrs. Lee. I beam. I'm the only friend who gets egg rolls to take home from Jenny's mom. Thanks, Miss Lee. They are always so delicious. She pats my shoulder. Bye, Stella. I happily carry the egg rolls as we walk back to the car. Now, Fantastic Time Machine looks like nothing from the outside, but it is amazing in the inside. There is red velvet everywhere with neon signs. Even the salad bar is neat because it's inside a red 1950s car. The coolest part is that all the waiters dress up in costumes as famous people and characters. They definitely stand out while all the customers sort of blend in. In our section, there is an Elvis, at least 2 different Batmans, a Cinderella, and many more. My personal favorite is Einstein. The guy playing Einstein is young, but he's wearing a crazy white wig and a mustache and has beakers attached to his lab coat. You know what E equals, he asks me. MC squared, I say. Indeed, E also equals excellent. Jenny whispers. You should be talking to Cinderella. She's glamorous. I roll my eyes. Jenny likes everything that is girly. Nick and Jason like talking to the Batmans. They argue over which Batman is better. Even Mom talks to Elvis for a little bit. I order spaghetti and meatballs. It's good, but not as good as Mom's spaghetti. It's probably because they don't know about adding the extra sabor like Mom does. It doesn't matter, though, because we're having too much fun. After dinner, we go dancing upstairs. I typically don't like dancing away from home, but it's dark with really fun lights, so it's easy to blend in. There are a bunch of kids dancing, too. I don't know any of them, so I don't care. We all drink Shirley Temples, which sounds like a grown-up drink. It's just pink soda with a cherry. In our group, it's mostly Mom, Jenny, and me dancing, although I do get Nick to dance with me for a second. After a little while, Mom starts to look tired and says, Phew! Long day at work. Keep dancing, girls. I'll check in on the boys. She sits down next to Jason and Nick, who are playing arcade games. When Jenny and I are alone, we get pretty silly. Jenny and I start to make up crazy dance moves. I'm doing the monkey, says Jenny while swinging her arms around. I'm doing the shark, I say, then put my hands together over my head. I'm doing the chicken, says Jenny, flapping her arms. I'm doing the stingray, I say, then spread my arms out. We giggle. We keep dancing until I hear, Hey, look, it's Stella Stairs. It's Jessica. Next to her is her friend Bridget, who is in Jenny's class. I stop dancing and Jessica giggles. Nice moves. Bridget adds, for someone who can't talk. I turn Roja while Jenny pulls me away. Come on, Stella. It's gotten super boring here. Jessica shouts, good thing you've got your translator. I'm slouching as Jenny and I leave the dance floor. I can still hear Jessica and Bridget laughing. We walk over to Mom. Nick is explaining to her the new comic he is reading while playing a race car game with Jason. Mom looks up at me. Everything okay, Stella? She asks, concerned. Yep, just tired. I pretend to yawn, stretching my arms way above my head. Sometimes I can be a pretty good actress. No problema. After Nick finishes his game, nos vamos. She grabs her car keys out of her purse. As we're leaving, Jenny whispers, why didn't you tell your mom? I shrug, pretending that it didn't really bother me. We were all having fun, right? I say, lying through my teeth. I hate it when the kids make fun of me, but I don't want Mom to know. It's sort of embarrassing, and I don't want her to worry. Mom already spent all this money to take us to Fantastic Time Machine. I don't want to ruin her night. When we get home, I persuade Nick to set up the tent in the backyard. He agrees only because Jason says he will help. That and it's not too cold outside. Nick and I have set it up once before when we pretended we were mountain people in our backyard. We only ate jerky and berries because I remembered reading that in the Little House in the Big Woods book. This time it's very different. Jenny decides that we should try to make it even more like a house, so we bring out the air mattress and pillows. Jenny wants to bring Poncho too, but I don't want him to get cold. He's a tropical fish, after all. This is much better than regular camping, she says. Best of all, we can run into the house to use the bathroom, I say, and grab more nail polish. I nod my head. I'm not good at painting my nails, but Jenny likes doing it. It always makes our nails look pretty. I need to practice because I'd like to be able to paint little cat and fish designs for us. Jenny falls asleep before I do. I lie awake wishing I didn't have to go back to school on Monday. Then I come up with a better wish. I wish for a real fantastic time machine so that I could time travel. I'd travel back to earlier this night and tell Jessica off. First, I just have to come up with the perfect comeback. Think and think, but nothing comes to mind. Maybe I do just stare. Maybe I do need Jenny to talk for me. So I decide I'd still travel back to earlier tonight, except I'd tell Jessica's parents to stay home instead of going out. That would work too. Chapter 9. This year, my relatives from Mexico City come to visit for Thanksgiving. Even though we don't even celebrate Thanksgiving in Mexico, my family still likes to visit them. Actually, I kind of think they're obsessed with it. Mom uses all the recipes from Betty Crocker, the most American cookbook, for our Thanksgiving meal, and my relatives get excited about it. American food is exotic to them. Still, our dinner is not just American food. Mom makes a couple of special Latin dishes like picadillo and elote. She also likes to have some of my relatives' favorite foods as snacks when they're here, like guava, pan tostado, and papaya. To buy the special foods, we have to go to another town. It's very different from where we live. Almost all the signs are in Spanish. It's a little far, so the only times we go are when we need to go to a store called La Sorpresa. Let's go pick up some supplies, things for your tia and abuelo, Mom says as she drives to our favorite store. La Sorpresa means surprise in Spanish. It's sort of the perfect name for our store. Even though it's small, it's filled with so many shelves that every turn is like a surprise. The biggest surprise happens when we get to the produce area. I see so many interesting vegetables and fruits. There are prickly pears, coconuts, yucca, and huge bananas called plantains that are not really bananas. I even see cactus. People eat this? I ask my mom, poking at one of the cactus leaves. See, it's nopales. You like it? I gulp. This is nopales? You mean I've been eating cactus? I don't understand why I haven't noticed spiny needles going down my throat. She laughs, knowing what I'm thinking. You take off the needles before you cook it, that's why. Phew! Nick grabs a piece of a wrapped golden cake that looks like pound cake, except it has sesame seeds. Wait, this is a quesadilla, Mom? Oh, that's delicious. Grab some. They eat that in El Salvador. Your grandmother makes it sometimes. Mom's mom, my abuela, loves to cook. Because abuela grew up in El Salvador, she makes all these different dishes from Central America, Cuba, and Spain. She even makes Italian because some members of her family are from Italy. Boy, I'm happy about that too. Mom knows how to make lots of those delicious dishes because of abuela. I thought quesadillas were with tortillas and cheese, says Nick. They are, but that's a Mexican quesadilla. This is a Salvadoran quesadilla. I get quiet as soon as I start thinking about all the countries that speak Spanish. There are so many, and all of them are different in their own ways. They have different foods and even different ways of speaking Spanish. I barely know anything about them, especially Mexico, where I am from. Then I realize that as much as I think I might fit in better in Mexico than in the United States, I really wouldn't. I know only a handful of things about Mexico from my family. Definitely not enough to make me feel like I fit in. The truth is, we don't go back to Mexico City too often because it's very expensive to get there. I do know that Mexico City used to be the world's largest city. When I close my eyes and picture it in my head, it makes Chicago seem small. Mom used to say that when Nick first got to Chicago, he would say everything was flat and empty. He later changed his mind after we drove through Iowa. Mom, tell me about Mexico City again, I asked, wanting to picture where we came from. Mexico City is in a valley surrounded by two volcanoes. One volcano is called Popocatépetl. The other is Iztaccíhuatl. According to Aztecs, Iztaccíhuatl is a princess, and Popocatépetl is the warrior who protects her. I apologize for my pronunciation. I'm sure that was wrong. She's told me about the volcanoes a bunch of times, but I still love hearing about them. It makes me feel like I come from a place that's special and that I'm connected to that place through her. Mom continues telling us about her home as we stroll through the aisles of the grocery store. I see other families and smile at them. They smile back. I wish I felt more comfortable speaking with them. Still, hearing so much Spanish feels nice to my ears. It's like a warm blanket. Plus, there are so many fun words that sound better in Spanish than in English, like cafe instead of coffee, or buenísimo instead of really good. Although I would never use both words in the same sentence. Cafe is not buenísimo. It's gross. Nick pushes the cart while Mom grabs glass jars of pimentos and aceitunas off the shelves. If they weren't too hard to open, I'd eat the aceitunas right away. I love olives almost as much as I love albondigas. Next, Mom searches for the guava and the cheese. Then she checks things off the list and scans down, pausing after a second. Your abuelo likes matrimonios when we play cards. Mom's face lights up as she says abuelo. Mom is very close to her dad. When my parents divorced, he stayed with us for a month. He even walked me to school every day. He is also the only person I try to speak Spanish with other than Mom. That's because he lets me talk really, really slowly and takes the time to listen to me. He's so nice, I don't even mind when he laughs at me for saying the words wrong or not rolling my R's. Mom reviews her list one last time. We almost forgot the frijoles, she says, pushing the cart back toward the aisle with the canned beans. As Mom searches for the frijoles, I see a girl my age talking to her abuelo in Spanish. For a moment, I feel a little jealous. My jealousy is quickly replaced with a sinking feeling in my stomach. I realize that my relatives are going to be here tomorrow. I cross my fingers and hope that I'll wake up knowing more Spanish. Chapter 10. The next day, Nick and I wait at home while Mom picks up my relatives at the airport. She doesn't take us because she says we'll get bored at the airport. Because my relatives are coming in from a different country, they have to go through customs, which is where they check you to make sure you are not bringing any illegal goods into the country. It can take a really long time. This trip, it's only Mom's sister, my tia Juanes, and my abuelo Apolinar. I haven't seen them in 2 years, so I'm a little nervous. Abuela rarely comes because she's very particular and doesn't like traveling anymore. She'd rather just stay at home playing cards. It would be easier if it were my tia Margarita visiting. She comes more often because she travels the world all the time and sometimes stays over in Chicago for a day or two in between her trips. Of all my relatives, she speaks English the best, so I like talking to her the most. She also is very creative, a professor, and speaks 4 languages. I want to be as smart as her when I grow up. While she's gone, Mom puts Nick in charge of watching the turkey. My job is to set the table. I know that's because I have an artistic eye. Nick doesn't know how to fold the napkins into triangles like they do in the fancy restaurants on TV. I even make little name tags in the shape of a turkey for everyone's seat. For a while, the house is quiet and I'm able to draw. Part of me wants to hide in bed with a book instead of doing Thanksgiving. I feel anxious, almost like it is the first day of school again. Before I can go hide, I hear the front door. Hola, mi amor, says Juanes in a loud voice. She swallows me up in a big hug and kisses both my cheeks. I can't see anything because of her fuzzy sweater, but I can smell her perfume. Juanes wears a lot of makeup. That's different from Mom, who only wears a little makeup when she goes to work. Juanes pulls away from me, then goes to Nick. I can finally see she's wearing a crazy patterned sweater and leggings. Her short red hair looks wilder than I have ever seen it. Hola, que guapo, she says as Nick beams. He likes being called good-looking. Juanes gets along real well with Nick. She used to take care of him after school when we lived in Mexico City. I sit on the couch and draw while Nick talks to Juanes in Spanish. I don't get a chance to talk to my family as much. To them, I am just the artista who makes drawings. They don't really know me like they know Nick. He was in first grade when we left, while I was just a baby. They don't know what questions to ask me, like what is my favorite fish or my favorite book. Even if they did, I wouldn't know how to tell them in Spanish. So I let them talk without me. Abuelo walks in next with Mom. He's a little slow because he has a limp from losing one of his legs in a bus accident when he was my age. He manages to get around everywhere thanks to his wooden leg, but he never complains about it. Even when he takes his wooden leg off at night, he whistles as he hops into bed. Hola, que precioso está Stella, Abuelo says. When he calls me pretty, I have to admit I feel a little less weird. He puts down his guitar and laughs a big belly laugh as he hugs me with both arms. Abuelo sniffs the air. ¿Dónde está la comida, Nick? Abuelo is obviously hungry as he hugs Nick. Casi, says Mom, which means the food is almost ready. She takes Abuelo's bag and guitar to Nick's room. Abuelo always brings his guitar when he visits. He used to be a performer in Mexico, playing on a radio program. We freshen up real quick, and I also feed Pancho. Happy Thanksgiving, I say as I drop an extra food pellet. Then Mom says, Está listo, announcing that the food is ready. Everyone sits down at the table as Mom brings out the dishes. There's turkey, cornbread stuffing, mashed potatoes, roasted vegetables. We even have sweet potatoes with marshmallows. Mom says she saw the recipe in a cookbook, but I think it's weird. My favorite things to eat are the dishes that are not American. We make the stuffing called picadillo, which is ground meat with aceitunas. The olives make it feel special, like it's our own treat. Mom also makes elote, corn on the cob with crumbled Mexican cheese on top. I want to dig in, but Mom says we have to say what we are grateful for first. Everyone says a few things in Spanish. When it comes to my turn, I just say very quietly, mi familia. I feel as shy as I do when I'm at school, but this is different. At school, I'm only shy about saying the words right, but here, around my family, I just don't have the words to say everything I want to say. If I could have said what I'm grateful for in English, I would have easily gone on and on. There's so much, like all the sea creatures in the sea, Mom, Nick, and Jenny, my best friend, but I can't, not in Spanish. I do try sometimes, but when I try to speak Spanish, Juanes will finish my sentences for me. Like when I say, quiero, I say, looking at the picadillo. Más pavo, says Juanes, who starts putting more turkey on my plate, which is not at all what I wanted. I push my turkey around with my fork. It's hard to want to talk when people aren't even listening to you. We eat until we are stuffed like pavos. Mom decides to look at photo albums before dessert. Vamos a mirar fotos de la familia. It's funny to see pictures from before I was born. Everyone's wearing different looking clothes, not to mention their different hairstyles. Both Mom and Dad had long hair. Nick had blonde hair instead of the dark brown hair he has now. There are even pictures of Dad with his family and Mom's family. Nick points to a picture. He is hitting a piñata with Dad, Abuelo, and my dad's brother, Carlos. I remember that. That was when I turned 4 years old, he says. And these are the puppets I had at my birthday party. He points to this picture with these amazing wooden puppets. Mom, Juanes, and Abuelo nod. Nick remembers so much. On another page, I see another picture of Abuelo, Tío Carlos, and a woman I don't know toasting. Mom, who is that? I ask. Oh, that's your Abuela Carmen on your dad's side. Her hair is a little different there. That's probably why you didn't recognize her. I've only seen Dad's parents once since we moved to the United States. While the grown-ups talk, I ask Nick, is Tío Carlos nice? He is, or at least he was back then. He'd play football with me and Dad. Sort of remember seeing my Tío. He used to live near us. We'd see him regularly until my parents divorced. Then we stopped seeing him and he moved to Colorado. Mom flips to pictures of when I was born. These are my favorite. I like seeing the pictures of me with tiny little bows in my hair. Everyone agrees that I was the cutest baby. There are also photos of everyone holding me, including Nick. He leans over and messes up my hair. La bébé, Juanes says. Excuse me. She touches my arm and gives me a kiss on the cheek. She immediately wipes the pink lipstick off my cheek and grabs my chin. Tú sabes que soy tu segunda madre, Stella, Juanes says. Sometimes she likes to tell me she's my second mother. I nod my head, see? Juanes might not always listen, but I know she loves me. After we've given our stomachs a break, we eat 3 different kinds of pie, apple, pecan, and pumpkin. I show Juanes and Abuelo my drawings of the animal project while we eat. Hey, bueno, Abuelo says. They're really good. He especially likes my manatee. Nick then begs Abuelo to play the guitar, and he begins to play many songs, I know. I love singing along, but sometimes I stay quiet to watch Mom sing. She looks so happy singing with her dad. Mom looks at me. You know, when I was your age, your abuelos would have these amazing parties. Abuelo and all his musician friends would sing all night. What about your bedtime? Mom laughs. She translates what I said to Abuelo and Juanes, and it makes them laugh too. Ay, Stella, says Abuelo. I tap Mom's arm. Why is that funny? Mom sees that my eyebrows are raised up. Don't worry, mi chiquita. It was just cute. Things are a little different in Mexico. Families throw more parties and people are a little less strict with bedtimes. I wouldn't mind that, says Nick. I don't see anything. Part of me wishes we never left Mexico. Sure, the parties and less strict bedtimes would be great, but I also think things would have been easier. We would see each other all the time instead of once every other year. If I lived near them, then they would feel like my family and not like visitors, or just like Mom's or Nick's family. Mom also wouldn't have to do everything by herself, and we wouldn't be alone anymore. Abuelo starts singing my favorite song, El Corrido de Chihuahua, and motions to me with his guitar. I know all the words, so I start singing along. Mom stands up. She pulls me to the floor to dance with her and twirls me until I start giggling. She finally stops twirling me, and everything keeps spinning for a second. When I can finally see straight, I notice that my whole family is giggling with me, too. Even Nick. I'm really happy that giggling and smiling is something that doesn't have to be translated. You just know it when you see it. That's where we're going to leave off for today. We'll pick up with chapter 11 tomorrow at 6 p.m. And tomorrow's Wednesday, so there's story time also at 4. I think that's it. Okay. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time.